Oh snap, and we are live. Sorry about the technical issues, everybody. The struggle is real, and boy, has the struggle been real this week. Man, I'm telling you, one technical issue after another. When it rains, it pours. Speaking of raining and pouring, you want to hear a really lame joke? I told my wife this, I think it was yesterday. Does anybody know in the chat room why Snoop Dogg he's always wearing a raincoat? Do y'all know why Snoop Dogg's always wearing a raincoat? Anybody? I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why Snoop Dogg is always wearing a raincoat. For drizzle. Anyways, y'all, welcome to the live stream. If this is your first time being here, my name is Cole Mize. I teach people how to rap. I'm a producer, mixing engineer, teacher, lover of music, just a down-to-earth dude that's passionate about rapping. So quick update. The game plan was to have recorded the song we've been working on by today so we can go over my recording. Unfortunately, I have not been able to do that still. So your boy's been working really hard behind the scenes and just doing everything I can to stay on top of the work that I have coming in. So the struggle is real, and so I haven't had time to record everything. And I want to make sure when I record it that it's right. And I wanted to use it as a legitimate demonstration of, what I teach. And so, recording is not something that you want to rush. It's a common mistake a lot of people make in the studio when they're starting off is, they go into the studio and they're not really prepared and they don't really get the best takes down, only to later on, after paying for mixing and mastering and whatnot, and after maybe printed up on CD, they regret it because, later on they realize that they know their verse better and they can perform it better. And every time they hear that recording, it's like, just hurts them to the core. So, but what I'm going to do tonight is something still special for y'all. I wanted to, always to deliver value to all of you out there. And so what we're going to do is something a little bit different tonight. I'm actually going to teach y'all a couple of cadences. I'm going to give y'all maybe a different look, maybe a little bit more of an in-depth look, and also give you some freebies to go along with it. You're going to get some free downloads to learn these cadences. One of the questions I get asked all the time is people want to know, how can they improve their flow? How can they learn more cadences and things of that nature? And there's a few really important things when it comes to learning cadences. One, it's really important that you train your ear to hear the beginning and ending of bars. The tricky thing about ear training is I have this philosophy or idea that many of us, we rely more on our vision than we do our ears. If you think about driving down the road, for an example, you could drive down the road without having to use your ears so intensively. You may be listening to music, yada, yada, yada. When it comes to music, you have to almost see with your ears, and it takes training to see with your ears, if that makes any sense. And so the reason why hearing the beginning and ending of bars is so important, for example, when you're learning cadences, you need to be able to know how the bar begins, how the bar ends, how it transitions to the next bar. When you're wanting to study other rappers' cadences, you need to be able to understand how their cadences are starting on the bar, how it's ending on the bar. It's crucial because once you learn their cadence and you try to practice it to another instrumental, it's likely not going to be the same exact tempo. So you need to have a starting point and an ending point so you know how to adjust that cadence to still fit the beat, whether to slow it down or to speed it up. It's also crucial when it comes to writing your rhyme schemes and making sure your rhyme schemes are connected really strongly together from one bar to the next. It's important to be able to count bars, hearing the beginning and ending of bars. And there's just a lot of really important reasons why it's really vital to be able to hear the beginning and ending of bars. So that's one thing that I hope to help all of you out there do through this exercise that we're about to get into. I'm going to teach y'all 3 cadences, okay? And I have a visuals to go along with this, and then I also have a download where you can download the audio of me rapping the cadence using lyrics. You can have the diagram and you can actually look at it to reference, because that way you have the visual to go along with you as you're training your ears to see the music. So important, so crucial. So that's what we're going to do. So I'll also be answering questions and stuff at the end. And so I guess without further ado, we can go ahead and get right on into it. So let's check it out. So the first thing I'm going to do is, well, switch my screen up. I'm going to show you the first cadence. Okay. Now here's the visual as you see at the top. And let me just kind of give you a rundown really quick of what you're actually looking at right here. So if you see the numbers, you know, the circular numbers, 1, 2, 3, and 4, that's representing the 4 beats that's in each bar. So that's representing where each beat is. So as you can see, you have 4 sections, and within those 4 sections, there's 4 smaller sections. You see the green and the red represented there. Those are 16th notes. And if you've watched a good bit of my videos, you'll know that I've said several times that rappers typically rap using 16th notes. There's 16 16th notes in a bar. So that means there's 4 16th notes per bar. Per beat in each bar. So as you can see, there's 4 4 16th notes in each beat section. Between 1 and 2, there's 4 16th notes there. Okay. So that's all that's demonstrating is that. So you remember the 16 count, the butter, 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 butter. That's all 16 notes right there. And what you see with the red there, the red is representing a pause, a breath, or just some flex space. And let me explain that a little bit. So it can be either one of those. It's not necessarily has to be one of them. It could be any of them. So people also ask me all the time is like, how many syllables should I have per bar? And the truth is there's really no set amount of syllables that you should have or you have to have. Once again, there's no rules when it comes to rapping, but a good general place to be at is anywhere between, I would say, 11 to 13 syllables. Okay. And the reason being is you need space to emphasize your syllables. Remember, all syllables are not created equal. Just because you have a word that's 1 syllable doesn't mean it's still not something that's going to take up a lot of space in your bar. For an example, I use this all the time, the word go, 1 syllable, right? 1 syllable word, go. And then take the word strike. Like, I'm going to strike you in the head. That's a little bit bigger of a word. But it's 1 syllable, but it just requires a little bit more space to be emphasized. So that's what the red is for. You can consider the red like flex space. That space you can use to breathe or just to carry over a note a little bit more so you can emphasize it. You'll find when it comes to cadences that the pauses, the little breaks is what really makes your cadence sound the way it sounds. It's crucial. You know, a lot of times we don't think that where you're not actually saying something new would have such an impact, but it really does. I mean, it's huge. And you want to leave space in your bars for those different reasons. Because, you know, we're always having to balance a lot of things at one time when we're rapping. You know, we're balancing, you know, speaking clearly. We want the listener to be able to understand us. We also want to not lose our breath so our vocals can have really good energy, so our rap voice can sound really good and energetic and have emotions, you know? And it's just crucial to keep a balance with everything from one bar to the next. And so that's basically what we're looking at with this diagram right here, okay? It's crucial that you pay attention when you're watching this, when you're listening to this. Follow along with the syllables. The syllables are lined out for every single note there. So on this one, for example, I'm saying, hey, I'm going to tell you how I rap and yeah, never. Hey, I'm going to tell you how I rap and yeah, never. Hey, I'm going to tell you how I rap and yeah, never. That's basically how it's going. Da 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 da. And the thing I think a lot of people have struggle with is they struggle hearing the pauses because these pauses are really subtle. Keep in mind, we're using 16th notes here. Okay, a 16th note is really short amount of time. And so when you're seeing those two red 16th notes on the first bar there, that's not a lot of space. So a lot of times when you're listening to rappers and you're trying to learn their cadences, you may not pick up on where they're breathing because it's not obvious. It's really quick, it's abrupt. And one trick to figuring out whether they're pausing or taking breaks or giving themselves a little extra room to say something is just pay attention to where there's not a new syllable coming out. That's one good indication. When you don't hear another syllable coming, you know that last syllable is either being held or they're pausing or breathing right there. And breathing, when done tastefully, I'm not going to say necessarily right, because there's really no right or wrong way that you have to breathe, but a lot of times you don't want to be too obvious with your breathing, like too loud with it. For an example, like you're rapping, da 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 da, and da 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 da. You don't want to be sounding like that. That would be obvious, like okay, he's taking a breath. But when you're rapping, you want to try to keep your breath somewhat a little bit more subtle and tamed. And so, a lot of rappers do this. So when you're hearing other rappers rapping, it may not be as noticeable. So it's something really important to listen for. Start training your ears, because the crazy thing about ear training is once you start training your ears to hear this type of stuff, it's like you can't help but hear it. It becomes so obvious. It's stuff that's been there in front of you your whole life, but you never noticed it. It's kind of like, like if you're looking for a new car or something like that, and you start going car hunting, and you come across a car, and you're like, man, I've never really seen this car before. And you really start looking at that car, and then now all of a sudden you see that car everywhere you go. The truth is that car has been around you the whole time. You just hadn't noticed it. It just didn't stick out to you for whatever reason until you really started focusing on it. All right. So anyways, let's go ahead and get into this real quick. So the first cadence, what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to play the track that's going to be available for you all to download. All right. And the way it's going to go is you're going to hear me doing that cadence to those lyrics for 8 bars, and then it's going to stop. I'm going to stop rapping for 8 bars, and then you're just going to hear the beat playing behind it. Okay. And that's where you can continue to practice this cadence without me. And then I'll come back in after about 4 bars or so, and then it'll keep doing that like every 8 bars or so. And I think this is a really good practical way to practice your cadences, to practice and learn new cadence. Having the visual, having the audio to go along with it so you can couple the both together and really grasp what you're hearing. Really grasp the beginning and the ending of bars. It's so crucial to hear that, because there's 3 typical ways that you catch a beat or catch a bar. You're either going to land on the first beat, directly on the first beat. That's typically where your first kick is in that bar. Or you're going to lead into it, which means you're going to come in towards the end of the bar before it. So let's say, for an example, in your song, there's a hook first and then there's a verse. All right. So if you're leading into your verse, then you'll start at the very end of the bar, of the last bar of the hook. After that 4th beat section, you'll start leading in. And you may say like 2 syllables or 3 syllables and use like a triplet, like a ba-da-ba, da-da-da, like ba-da-boom, and then boom lands on the first beat, ba-da-boom. All right, crucial that you hear that. And then the other way that you can catch a beat is coming in after that first beat. So you can pause, like just not say anything on the first beat, and pause, and maybe you lead into the second beat, which brings up another good point. You don't have to land on every single beat in a bar. You can take pauses on beats. I like to take breaths on beats to make those breaths musical. I like to breathe in a musical way, so you can actually, if you wanted to, you could rap and be dancing around the beat to where you rap up into the beat and stop and let the beat come through and let that snare come through and hit, or that kick drum come through and hit. There's endless amounts of possibilities of what you can do when it comes to your cadences. So without further ado, let's check out the first cadence. I'm just going to play it through. Y'all feel free to practice along with this. Okay, you can just listen to what I'm doing, look at the visual, and practice along to it while I'm playing it. I'm going to play each one for a few minutes, and then I'll move on to the next one and look at that and kind of talk through it, okay? All right, let's go. Hey, I'm going to tell you how... I need to mute my instrumental first. Here we go. Hey, I'm gonna tell you how I rap and yeah, never hate. I'm gonna tell you how I rap and yeah, never hate. I'm gonna tell you how I rap and yeah, never hate. I'm gonna tell you how I rap and yeah, never hate. I'm gonna tell you how I rap and yeah, never hate. I'm gonna tell you how I rap and yeah, never hate. I'm gonna tell you how I rap and yeah, never hate. I'm gonna tell you how I rap and yeah, never. I'm gonna tell you how I rap and yeah, never hate. I'm gonna tell you how I rap and yeah, never hate. I'm gonna tell you how I rap and yeah, never hate. I'm gonna tell you how I rap and yeah, never hate. I'm gonna tell you how I rap and yeah, never hate. I'm gonna tell you how I rap and yeah, never hate. I'm gonna tell you how I rap and yeah, never hate. I'm gonna tell you how I rap and yeah, never. And one thing I wanted to point out, I'm gonna play it back here in just a second. Notice how on yeah, I'm not taking a pause right there. Remember, the red is flex space. You can do whatever you want. It's like a recliner. You know what I'm saying? You can just chill back, relax, use it for whatever you want. It's flex space. It's there for you to breathe a little bit. So in that example, yeah, I'm dragging out yeah to carry over into that flex space. Okay. So that's, and then if you listen to the first part of this, the two pauses or the two red markers there, those 2 16th notes, I'm using that for a pause, okay? And I'm gonna play it back again. Just listen to that with that in mind, okay? Here we go. Hey, I'm gonna tell you how I rap and yeah, never hate. I'm gonna tell you how I rap and yeah, never hate. I'm gonna tell you how I rap and yeah, never hate. I'm gonna tell you how I rap and yeah, never hate. I'm gonna tell you how I rap and yeah, never hate. I'm gonna tell you how I rap and yeah, never hate. I'm gonna tell you how I rap and yeah, never hate. I'm gonna tell you how I rap and yeah, never. All right. So does that make sense to y'all? Does anybody have any questions about that? So I'm about to move on to the second one. If you have a question, just sound off real quick. Got to stay hydrated, man. So yeah. All right, so I don't see any questions coming through. Maybe there's a delay in the stream, but I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the Joshua said, would the pause be good to use for someone who has auditory Tourette's? Well, I'm not familiar with Tourette's. I'm not quite sure how Tourette's works when it comes to rapping. I guess the same would apply to someone who has a stutter. I don't know. I would take the theory that I'm teaching and then apply that to your knowledge that you have about Tourette's. I would imagine pausing would help anybody with Tourette's or stuttering. But once again, that's me speculating. I don't know that for sure. Okay, so if you clear your throat every 5 seconds, that's good information to have. That way you know, okay, I'm working with 5 seconds of clarity. So I would create cadences around that 5 second mark and intentionally put in pauses like every 5 seconds. Yeah, I would imagine that's rough. But you could pull it off though. The reporter of the meme said, "Is marijuana good for rappers?" I don't know why it would be specifically good for rappers. I say, hey, do what you do. If it's good for you, if it works for you, no problem, Joshua. Yeah, I think that's really awesome too, Joshua. You know what I'm saying? Not to let something like that hold you back. You know what I'm saying? Use it as a challenge. You know what I'm saying? Like, we all have different things that we struggle with, that we're not so good at, like, all of us. You know what I'm saying? Like me, for an example, I'm not the fastest learner. Sometimes I have to read something 5-6 times before I grasp it, because I'll start reading it and my mind just wanders off. Some people call that ADD. I don't really call it anything. This is how I am, you know. But yeah, so let's go ahead and move on to the second cadence. All right. HH Reviews asks, this doesn't really have to do with this part, but can you break down how to write out double and triple time? How would you even map out a cadence for something that fast? So it boils down to just notes. You know, like we're using 16th notes right now primarily. But when you start getting into double time and stuff like that, you're going to be using more 30-second notes and things of that nature. It really depends on when you're talking about double and triple time. It really depends on the structure of the drums and the beat. For an example, a lot of trap music is produced in double time, so the tempo is actually twice as fast. But the way they program the drums still to a 4 beat, to a 4 count, right? And they span it out over over 2 bars. So technically every 2 bars is actually a bar. So like, let's say if the beat was 140 BPMs, right? 140 beats per minute. But the way they program the drums is it's more like 70 beats per minute. So it's kind of confusing and tricky to understand. But if you just listen once again to the kick and the snare and realize that typically there's 2 kicks, typically 2 snares for the most part when it comes to the 4x4 time that we structure music in. Just keep that in mind when you're listening to it, because the reason they produce in double time is so they can do the really quick drum fills and the rolls, the snare rolls and stuff like that. But for the main part, that four count's still intact if you listen real carefully. So yeah, all the trap music. A lot of people will swear up and down, man, you know, this track only has 1 snare per bar or 1 kick per bar, and it technically it doesn't. It's still the same 4x4, you know what I'm saying, 4 beats per measure. But the way they structure it is tricky. It can be kind of confusing at first. So let's go ahead and check out the second cadence, all right? So let me see if I can get that booger loaded on up. So cadence number 2. Let's see here. Here we go. So basically all this is right here is the 16 count with 1 pause or 1 flex space after the 4th beat. I'm on the mission trying to teach you how to rap, and if I'm on the mission trying to teach you how to rap, and if it's just real simple. But notice how that one little break keeps it from sounding like butter 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 butter. I'm on the mission trying to teach you how to rap, and if just makes it sound, just that one little, you know what I'm saying, little space there makes it sound completely different. And keep in mind that just because there's that red part doesn't mean I have to pause right there. It's just flex space. So if I want to emphasize rap, I have that space to do so. All right, so this was a little bit busier than usual. This is using 15 syllables. So let's check it out. Let's see what it sounds like. Here we go. I am on the mission trying to teach you how to rap. And if I am on the mission trying to teach you how to rap. And if I am on the mission trying to teach you how to rap. And if I am on the mission trying to teach you how to rap. And if I am on the mission trying to teach you how to rap. And if I am on the mission trying to teach you how to rap. And if I am on the mission trying to teach you how to rap. And if I am on the mission trying to teach you how to rap. And if feel free to go ahead and practice right here over it. I am on the mission trying to teach you how to rap. And if I am on the mission trying to teach you how to rap. And if I am on the mission trying to teach you how to rap. And if I am on the mission trying to teach you how to rap. And if I am on the mission trying to teach you how to rap. And if I am on the mission trying to teach you how to rap. And if I am on the mission trying to teach you how to rap. And if I am on the mission trying to teach you how to rap. And if and if and if And if I am on the mission trying to teach you how to rap. And if I am on the mission trying to teach you how to rap. And if I am on the mission trying to teach you how to rap. And if I am on the mission trying to teach you how to rap. And if I am on the mission trying to teach you how to rap. And if I am on the mission trying to teach you how to rap. And if I am on the mission trying to teach you how to rap. And if I am on the mission trying to teach you how to rap. And if and if and if mission trying to teach you how to rap. And if I am on the mission trying to teach you how to rap. And if I am so another not too complex of a cadence, but completely practical. That's something you can use right now, and it's gonna sound great. Easy to learn, not too complex. The thing is, these are common flows that you'll hear a lot of rappers use. You know what I'm saying? And it's not really that complex. And that's what I really want to get across to all of y'all. Is so many people get hung up on, you know, thinking that cadences are super duper complex and it's just way too complicated to understand. And I hope by just like showing you visuals to go along with some of these easy, simple cadences, that you realize that, you know, you can actually learn these cadences really easy and make them sound really good, you know? Actually, somebody was talking about in the chat, I think it was Thordox, who was saying DMX. DMX is a great example. DMX is not known for having super duper complex cadences. You know, Tupac either, not super duper like complex cadences. What makes a rap a good rap? It's like a lot of different things kind of molding and meshing together just to have a well-balanced performance, because you can have, once again, using DMX, not the most lyrical rapper. He has great rhythm. He can stay on beat. He has consistent cadences. He has his own style of cadences that he likes to use a lot. But it's the energy, man. Like when he brings that energy, hey, you're my man. You know what I'm saying? He brings that energy, and it just, man, it just hits you so hard when you hear it. So, anyways, that's cadence number 2. All right. Now let's check out what's going on with cadence number 3. All right. Yeah, Omar said Drake isn't complex either, but his style is catchy. Exactly. Complexity. I would even submit to all of y'all this too. The less complex your stuff is, the more catchy it's going to be a lot of times. Kind of hurts my heart to say that a little bit, but it's true. Like if you listen to a lot of hooks are somewhat simple, not too complex. That way the person listening to it can easily grasp it, easily learn it and follow along with it. If you listen to a lot of hooks, you know, a lot of hooks are really simple and easy to follow. Not too much information in there. Not to say that you can't be complex and catchy either. But there's nothing wrong with keeping things simple. I think sometimes some of us as rappers, we get so caught up in the technical side of things to where we're only focused on being super duper technical, and it can actually cause things to be less pleasing to the ear. You know, and that's with anything. Like, you know, you can be so technical with something and actually ruin the experience. You know, you can overthink things, anything. Like for an example, when you're producing, there's a term called overproducing something. You know, in mixing, when you're mixing records and stuff, there's a such thing as over-mixing something. I know one of the earlier mistakes I used to make in mixing was I thought I had to use every mixing technique that I had learned on every mix. And so I was just, you know, doing crazy stuff, man, like using parallel compression and just all types of crazy different automations, pan automations, volume automations. And just because I knew how to do it, so therefore I felt like I had to do it on that track because that's a tool that I have. And really when it comes down to it, what you have to ask yourself is what's best for the track. You know what I'm saying? What sounds the best for the track? And there's a time to be complex and there's a time to be simple. And really it's up to you, the person who's writing the song, to judge what's best for the song. Because that's, you know, as they say, like the beauty is in the eye of the beholder. It's up to you as like the record producer over your song to decide what's best for that song. And you hear me say this all the time, like don't get so caught up in one thing. Like when you're rapping, if you get super duper focused on your cadences, that can cause your rhyme schemes to suffer. Or if you get too focused on your rhyme schemes, if you just focus strictly on rhyming, that can take away from the meaning of your song, because you can come up with words that rhyme that make no sense in context with what you're saying. So it's a matter of keeping a balanced view of everything, not being too hyper focused on one thing. And cadences is just another one of those things. You know, you can geek out really on cadences, but when you play that music, when you write into that instrumental, you just close your eyes, you just vibe to it. And at that point, it's all a matter of what feels good, what feels right. You know what I'm saying? What you think sounds good. It doesn't have to be super technical. All right. So let's check out the final cadence. Are you ready? The final cadence. All right. Let's load this sucker on up here. All right. Now on this one, we're taking we have a pause or a flex space in the same spot as the last one. That's why I wanted to show you all these cadences too, back to back. So you can see that there's not a crazy difference in between them, but they sound very different. And after we get done playing this one, I'm gonna play them all back to back so you can hear them closer together. So on this one, have the flex space in the same spot after the fourth beat, and then we're taking a breath or a pause or whatnot, or flex space as you want to call it, just breathing room right after the second beat. We're saying try on the second beat, and then we have that flex space right there to either emphasize try. I would never try to deny that I would lie, but I. And in this case, I'm using this as flex space. I'm not breathing right here. I'm using try. So try, I could say that kind of quick, but I like to drag it out. You know what I'm saying? In this particular scenario, try and lie. Another reason too is those rhymes or those words rhyme with each other. So I like to highlight rhymes. You know, wherever I'm rhyming, I like to really highlight that rhyme and make it shine, really make it stand out, you know, so it pops out a little bit more. This is also, take note, rhymes is always a good place to add a little bit more energy from a delivery perspective. You know, a lot of times we rhyme on beats. Pay attention to this right here. Just look, try and lie both, and then we have I at the end too. In the beginning, I got a lot of I's in here now. I'm looking at it. Got it on the third beat as well. After the third beat, or actually nigh on the third beat. So we got try on the second beat, I on the first beat, try on the second beat, nigh, another I sound on the third beat, lie on the fourth beat. I got I's all over the place. All right. But a good place to place rhymes is on beats. It's not the only place you can place them, you know, but it's a good place to put them. You know what I'm saying? Because kicks and snares typically hit on the beats. So when you place a rhyme there, and then on top of that, you bring that extra delivery, you bring a little bit of extra energy on that, make it pop even more. So you got the kick and snare kind of launching you a little bit, and you kind of riding that kick and snare. So it just makes it, boom, just makes it really stand out. So let's check out the third cadence. Here we go. I would never try to deny that I would lie, but I would never try to deny that I would lie, but I would never try to deny that I would lie, but I would never try to deny that I would lie, but I would never try to deny that I would lie, but I would never try to deny that I would lie, but I would never try to deny that I would lie, but I would never try to deny that I would lie, but I try. But I would never try to deny that I would lie. But I would never try to deny that I would lie. But I would never try to deny that I would lie. But I would never try to deny that I would lie. But I would never try to deny that I would lie. But I would never try to deny that I would lie. But I would never try to deny that I would lie. But I would never try to deny that I would lie. But I would never try to deny that I would lie. But I would never try to deny that I would lie. But I try. But I ride, but I but I would never try to deny that I would lie. But I would never try to deny that I would lie. But I would never try to deny that I would lie. But I would never try to deny that I would lie. But I would never try to deny that I would lie. But I would never try to deny that I would lie. But I would never try to deny that I would lie. But I would never try to deny that I would lie. But all right, and now let's check out. Oh, let me just say this real quick about that cadence. One thing I would point out, one thing I wouldn't do, is you notice how in this example, it's cool. It doesn't matter because if you was literally rapping that line in a verse, you're not going to keep repeating the same thing over and over again. All right, but just for the practice sake, I wouldn't use I and I right next to each other because you keep in mind it's looping back, right? So I say I would never try to deny that I would lie, but I would never try. If you're going back to my how to rap fast video, one thing to really help yourself rap faster is eliminate as many tongue twisters as possible. So if you think about the mouth, we use different parts of our mouth to make different sounds. So you use your lips for certain sounds, you use the roof of your mouth for certain sounds. Some sounds are just open. We call those vowels. And your consonants, that's what restricts the airflow. So think about it as like, I don't know, think about it like little men in your mouth working. They're working different areas of your mouth. You don't want to overload one section too much, you know, because it makes it hard to produce, you know, produce that sound. It gets you hung up. And so when you're writing your lyrics, keep that in mind. Keep in mind like what sounding words you're putting really close together or back to back to each other. You know, it's super important. You know, it really has so much to do with how easy or smooth what you're saying is to rap. Because you got to keep in mind when you're writing a rap, this could be something you could be rapping, you know, live on stage, on the street, in school. You might be out with your friends and someone calls you out. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, you rap? Oh yeah, you rap? Let me hear you spit something in. And you gotta be ready. You wanna make sure your stuff's tight as spandex. You know what I'm saying? Like for real. So that's just something to keep in mind. I'll actually likely go back and just make that slight adjustment to this little cadence right here just for practice sake. But just wanted to point that out to you. And now real quick, I'm just gonna play all three back to back. And that way you can have the visual to go along with it. And let's just get that going real quick. All right. So, all right. Cadence number one. Gonna play it for just a few seconds here. Hey, I'm gonna tell you how I rapping, yeah, never. Hey, I'm gonna tell you how I rapping, yeah, never. Hey, I'm gonna tell you how I rapping, yeah, never. Hey, I'm gonna tell you how I rapping, yeah, never. Hey. All right, cadence two. I am on the mission trying to teach you how to rap. And if I am on the mission trying to teach you how to rap. And if I am on the mission trying to teach you how to rap. And if I am on the mission trying to teach you how to rap. And if cadence three. I would never try to deny that I would lie. But I would never try to deny that I would lie. But I would never try to deny that I would lie. But I would never try to deny that I would lie. But there you go. Three different cadences. Look at it visually, they're not drastically different. They're actually really close together. I intentionally wanted to keep them really close together to demonstrate how big of a difference these little changes makes, all right? And so like I said, I'll have this stuff available for download. I'll likely just put the links in the video description later on, probably tomorrow morning or later on tonight, whenever I get time to do it. But was that helpful? Y'all let me know, like, sound off in the chat. I know I'm kind of jumping around looking at different screens, so I haven't been able to look at the chat the whole time I've been doing this. But was that helpful to all of y'all? Appreciate it, Omar. Omar said that's really good cadences, Cole. George said, I feel like the first cadence is the flow you take on as you're getting used to the beat. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's the first thing I do whenever I listen to an instrumental. I just vibe out to it and start scatting to it. And that's why it's good to learn as many different cadences as you can, because it makes you versatile to be able to do that. So that means you can play pretty much any type of beat and vibe out to it, man, and adapt to it. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, George. George said this was helpful. Yeah, legit. Awesome. I'm really glad to hear that. HA Review says, I noticed a lot of new rappers have flow, but their delivery is so bad it sounds awful. Oh man, y'all are blowing up the chat. Monica, I might need some help. Capture some of these questions. Um, yeah, delivery is really important. So important. It's really what causes people to feel what you're saying. Um, if you ever really dig deeper into appreciate that 1883. My brother's out here hanging in the chat. Me and 1883 used to drop some stuff back in the day. I'll tell you a quick little funny story about me and my brother. My brother's 2 years older than I am. We used to have two studios when we was both living at my parents' house. I had a studio in my room. He had a studio in his room. And when I used to be in a rap group, I used to have 3 or 4 people plus in my bedroom, my small little bedroom, and we'll be dropping tracks. And then my brother would be in the other room working on tracks, and then we'd be bouncing in between one studio and the next. And he had it. My brother's really good with like technology and stuff like that. He's a hacker at heart. Been a hacker since he was a kid. That's a whole nother story. Maybe I should tell y'all some stories about that one day. But he's been hacking since he was a child. But we had it set up on the network to where I could be recording something in my DAW, and then it synchronizes with his computers, and that it comes up in his computer, like my recording would come up in his room. It's really cool. But we was dropping tracks like crazy. So here's a good question. Chris Angel said, what if the BPM is different? How to know how many syllables in a bar? Well, I actually addressed this earlier on, Chris. This is why I was saying it's very important for you to be able to hear the beginning and ending of a bar, because regardless of the tempo, it's going to have 4 beats in a bar. So you need to be able to tell where the cadence begins on beat and where it ends. So where it begins on a bar and how it ends, and that way you can adjust it to a tempo, meaning either you slow down or you speed up. But you do that as you adjust it so it still lands where it's supposed to land. So that's the simple explanation of that. So Cedric said, I feel like the hardest part of rapping is having enough material to keep on flowing. You have a good flow, but if you run out of material, you start fumbling on your words. How can I keep flowing? It sounds like you're talking more about freestyling, not necessarily rapping specifically, more specifically about freestyling. I talked about that last week, actually. If you get a chance, go to my website, colemystudios.com, and search for an article called How to Write Raps Faster. It's a technique I teach about writing, but it also helps with freestyles too, because really the key, if you want to have more artillery, you need to learn more words, and you need to learn more lists of words that rhyme. So check that article out, and that'll really, really help you out. See, Joshua said, would you recommend that I keep my AT and my raps to stand out, or would that turn people away? You know, AT, my attitude, honestly, AT is this, man. Like, screw what everybody else thinks, man, for real. Like, honestly. Like, I know there's people who don't have any arms or legs who raps. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then you see, like, you see how shallow the industry can seem to be. You know what I'm saying? How materialistic and vain it can be. And that could, if someone like really cared so much about what other people thought, someone like that, who's handicapped severely, may not ever rap. But at the end of the day, rap because you love it. Just rap because you love it. Forget what everyone else thinks. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter what everyone else thinks. It really doesn't. And I'll tell you what, man, I'll be honest with you. With you having Tourette's and you rapping, I think that could actually be something you could use to your advantage, because people would actually, I think they would really show a lot of support for you, because I think that would inspire a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? to encourage them, like, look, there's no excuses. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can go hard at whatever you do, no matter what setbacks you may have or what obstacles you may have to overcome. I mean, I've been blessed, man, to know people, some really incredible people in my life. And, you know, I know a guy with one leg who's partially blind in both eyes. And this dude is a hustler, like a legit hustler, like has his own business, is independent. He's not begging people for money. And he's so independent to when you hang around him, you seriously forget that he has one leg because he never asked for help. And if anything, he's always helping other people out. You know, if you drop something, he'll run over there real quick and help you pick it up. He also plays basketball. I actually climbed Stone Mountain with this cat, one leg, and I was having trouble keeping up with him. I'm not even playing. So no matter what obstacles you have, don't be afraid. Don't let that hold you back. Ever, ever. You know what I'm saying? And it's nothing for you to apologize about. It's part of who you are. Accept it and just use it to your best ability, you know? So you got it, Joshua. You got it, bro. George said, son, if Fetty Wap can do it, we all can do it. Hey, my pleasure, Joshua. It's all love, man. It's all love, bro. And that's what this place is all about, man. It's all about encouraging one another, man. I rap because I love it. You know what I'm saying? I don't care about being famous or popular. If I become famous or popular, being myself and doing what I love to do, that's fine. But it's not something I'm chasing after or trying to obtain because I don't need it. I don't need it. I'm happy. You know what I'm saying? I don't need any more validation. JPEG said, is there any way to know which flows sound good together? Like when you transition between flows every 2 to 4 bars, how do you keep it sounding good? Play by ear? That's a good question, actually. I would love to kind of cover that a little bit in another video tutorial. But I'll give you like a little hack. So typically, me personally, I like to switch things up every 2 to 4 bars. If you break out if you take a 16 bar verse, for an example, you can divide it into 4 even sections. So a good place to switch things up is like every 4 bars because it's easy enough for the person to follow along with for those 4 bars. It doesn't come off as sounding too random, but by the time they figure out what you're doing, you switch it up and change it up on it. So that's a really good place to change your cadences. And also when you change your cadences, change your rhyme schemes. When you change your cadence, you're likely also going to change where you breathe at. So for an example, I would just give this to you. Pay attention to where you breathe. Pay attention to where you breathe. When you switch your cadence up, let's say for an example, on one particular cadence, you're taking a breath at the very end of the bar on the 4th beat. Okay, right after the 4th beat. You're landing on the snare on that 4th beat. Then you take a short breath, right? Let's say you do that for 2 to 4 bars. Let's just call it 4 bars. Maybe now, instead of taking that, when you're getting ready to transition into your next flow, don't take a breath on that 4th beat and rap all the way through it. So you pretty much have a lead into the next bar, and then maybe take a breath on the 2nd beat and start doing that for like 3 to 4 bars. You know what I'm saying? And then you switch that up. So it's really all about creating patterns and making patterns that work well with each other when they come back to back. It's a very good question. I'm glad you asked that because I'm always talking about relationships in music. So like when I'm writing 1 bar, let's say I'm in the middle of a verse, right? Let's say I'm on, I don't know, the 8th bar, for example. I'm writing the 8th bar. So when I'm writing that 8th bar, I'm also paying attention to the bar before it. So the 7th bar and the 8th bar. And then when I write the 9th bar, I'm looking at the 8th bar because I want to know how they connect together. I want to know where the 8th bar ends at and where I should start my 9th bar. And so it has everything to do with, you know what I'm saying, do you have enough breath, yada, yada, yada. You know, is stuff running over? Do you need to give yourself a little extra headroom or flex space as we're referring to it in this session? So hopefully that helps. HH Review says, how can I learn how to rap in a melody and find the melody of a track? Google. That's what you need to do is Google because that's going to take some ear training. You need to learn scales. You need to maybe learn some keyboard, just basic stuff. Just search Google for it. There's really good video tutorials out there for just search for how to find the key of a song. If you find out the key of a song, then you're already on your way to, and you can do this by ear too, as far as figuring out a melody. You can do that by ear, just by listening to the melody and mimicking it. But if you want to know what key it is, you're going to have to learn a little bit of music theory as far as scales and stuff like that. The Golden Knight said, how do I know if I'm off beat? They say it's all about the speed. You can rap the same speed of a beat, double it or half it. So what does that mean? How do you know if you're off beat? You know if you're off beat if you're off beat. If you I mean, listen to you need to go back and watch some of my videos for real. Like go back and go watch my how establishing rhythm part 3 video. If you want to know if you're off beat, just watch that video. Rapping is not all about speed. That's just one element. So much more. Rapping has so much more into it than just that. Captain Soap said, been learning from our session. Want to know if I can reference designer without biting his flow on Panda for a song. Yeah, I mean, designer didn't create that flow. Where do you think he got it from? Future? I don't know. Thing is, don't be afraid to be influenced by other rappers because we're all influenced by each other. Point blank, period. In fact, I encourage it. If you want to get better, allow yourself to be influenced by other rappers. Don't be afraid of, quote unquote, biting his flow. Learn his flow, incorporate it into what you're doing, and try to put your own twist to it. It's okay, Golden Knight. He said, I watched all your videos, but I don't get it yet. It's okay. You just need to take your time and don't rush through the videos. Like I said, me personally, sometimes it takes me 9 or 10 times of watching the same thing before I get it, especially if it's something new. Not so much if it's something I'm already familiar with, but if it's something new, you got to really practice. It's not just watching the video to understand it. You got to practice what I'm talking about. That's where it really comes together. Learning something is part, consuming information, and part actually being able to apply that information. Joseph Knox says, is a music theory class recommended if you want to go pro? I don't know if you're saying go pro as a rapper or go pro as a producer, but I would highly recommend some type of theory class, or even if it's just going online and watching YouTube videos for free on music theory. I got books back there on music theory, lots of material on music theory. Learning music theory will just help you understand music better, and therefore the better you understand something, the more you can use it to your advantage. HH Review says, how do I study rhyme schemes? Go to my website, search for how to rhyme words like a boss. Everybody, a lot of the questions I get asked is stuff I've already written about and made videos about. Take the time, go on my website. That's where everything's at for the most part, except for like podcasts and stuff I do strictly on YouTube. Go on my website and just search. You know what I'm saying? I have a search function on my website. So whenever you want to, know something, just go in there and type it in. And if you don't see it, just shoot me an email or whatnot. Captain Soap said it right here, blanket theory. That's it. That's what I was saying on that establishing rhythm part 3 video. If he goes along with that, you can practice along with me on that. Just use that blanket theory that Soap's talking about. That's it. If you want to know you're off beat, use that blanket theory. As simple as that. It's not super duper complex. Thordox said playing guitar has helped my raps. I believe that, Thordox. I really do. I'll tell you what, when I started learning piano better, the that improved my songwriting. Like I'm instantly, man, my hooks got better. Me writing hooks, it got instantly got better, man. It's crazy. I started learning scales and chords and stuff like that, and it caused me to be way more versatile when I was, writing songs. And still to this day, man, it's changed my whole songwriting game. Just learning scales, learning how to play the keyboard a little bit better. Also helped me identify, helps me identify the key of a song pretty quickly. Daniel said, what instrument would you recommend to learn and practice to learn how to stay on beat? You can use your mouth. Your mouth is an instrument. It don't cost you no money. You already own it. But, if you want to, back in the day, man, we used to beat on desks and, with pencils and pens. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's how, you know what I'm saying? But it could be anything, man. But I would recommend if you want to use an instrument other than your voice, use a drum, because what we're doing is basically, we're using percussive elements while we're rapping. What we're doing is called rhythm. It's rhythmic. It's fast. You know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't pick up like a string instrument or something like that necessarily. Like if it's something that's going to be held for long, or maybe I should say more like a string instrument could still be rhythmic. Like a guitar could be rhythmic depending on how you play it, but not like a saxophone or a tuba or something like that necessarily. But Reality said, what is better to be, in your opinion, a lyricist or a songwriter? I say be both. Like, why pick between the two? I mean, when I think of a lyricist, I think of someone who's very, very, very well versed with their words and how they use them. So they kind of go hand in hand, to be honest with you. Lyricist doesn't just necessarily mean you have to be like, use really complex words. You know what I'm saying? It could be mean you're gifted with lyrics. You know what I'm saying? And songs, writing songs is part lyrics and part music. You know what I'm saying? So don't pick, man. Be both. Yeah, George said a lyrical songwriter. That's what I'm talking about. Omar, go to my website. Go check out my article that I wrote on how to rhyme words like a boss. Talks about a lot of wordplay and different literary devices. Eventually, I'm gonna create videos to a lot of the stuff I've written about. So one of my goals in the future is to free myself up more and more from the technical work I do, because I do a lot of work that takes a lot of time. Like mixing music and stuff takes a lot of time. For me anyways, me personally. But I'm looking forward to creating more and more videos in the future. I have so much more to share. But for now, there's a lot of good stuff on the website that I've written about that I think a lot of people skip over, because depending on where people come from, some people come from YouTube, maybe they're not so much into reading. But I've actually become a fan of reading even more, because I can consume information faster than watching a video, because I can read faster than it takes someone to say something to me. But to each their own, you know what I'm saying? But that's why I started doing these podcasts and these live streams, so I can just get out all this information I got in my head. And so anybody who's really hungry can sit there and, consume it. That's all good, Joshua. Like I said, a lot of people come from the YouTube. It's split, between my website and YouTube, how people find me. So I always try to direct people over to the website so they don't miss out. Lots of good articles on there, man. I've written quite a bit about songwriting on my website. All right. So everybody, just want to thank all of y'all once again for hanging out, man. It's been a blast. Like I said, I'll be dropping the links and stuff to where you can download these cadences and the actual pictures to go along with each cadence, and use that. It's like a rapper starter kit for cadences. It's not too complex. It's not, something I believe all of y'all can learn if you sit there and practice it. And for the others that was asking about staying on beat and stuff like that, practice along with this. Use the visual to go along with it. It tells you exactly what's on beat. So if you're not saying something when I'm saying it, you know you're off beat. Don't make it overly complex. You know what I'm saying? But this was awesome. So once again, next week the goal is to have the track recorded, and we'll go over it. If I can't get it done by then, trust me, I'll make it up. You know what I'm saying? We can do something similar to this, and maybe do another demonstration. Real quick, I just want to share this with y'all. Some of y'all may have seen me make a post about this, but man, your boy done took it back in the day. Check this out. This is what I've been up to. See that? What y'all know about that right there? Some of them classics, man. What y'all know about this right here, man? It's that old school right there. It's that NES, man. I've recently got this hooked up, and I got a monitor right here. So every now and then I'll just chill out and unwind, play a little classic video games. You see that right there? It's that Street Fighter 2, man. That's that real. Hold on. I got one more. I got that Killer Instinct. What y'all know about that right there, man? What y'all know about that? Classic. Oh, hold on. Okay, I got one more. That's gonna be it. What y'all know about that? What y'all know about that right there? Classics. But anyways, thank y'all all so much for stopping by. I'm not gonna hold y'all any longer. Y'all have given me enough of your time, and it's always a pleasure, man. I always enjoy hanging out with all y'all. Hope y'all learned something. Hope this was helpful to y'all. Hope it serves you greatly as you move forward on developing as an artist, or just as a person that's just doing music or whatever involvement you have with music. Hopefully this was helpful to you. And if this is your first time being here, go ahead and sign up to my mailing list. Get my free ebook, The #1 Fundamental to Rapping. And you can also subscribe to my YouTube channel, and also watch other videos that's in this playlist to learn more. So anyways, this is Cole Maz. I'm signing off. And remember, when it comes to rapping, there's no rules. There's only techniques. Peace.